Good morning or afternoon, everyone. My name is Jeremy Walsh, and I am the Director of Support, Training, and Documentation for BNI Connect. I would like to welcome everybody to the webinar today. So today's webinar is for chapter webmasters, for people that would like to customize and edit and make your chapter websites your own. One thing that you may or may not know is that every single chapter that is in BNI has a chapter website available to them. It is just part of the BNI Connect system, and it is a page that is on your regional site that as a webmaster you have access to go in and make changes to. So you could put up current events, you could put up more information about your chapter, and the great thing is that unlike various websites that might be outside of BNI Connect, a lot of the information in the BNI Connect based chapter sites are automatically updated for you. So it makes your job a lot easier when it comes to, oh, somebody just joined the chapter. We have to get them up on the website. Well, no, because they're all automatically put up there for you. And as people update their information in BNI Connect, that information is automatically updated on the website. It automatically updates your speaker rotation and your chapter leadership team contact information and all the things that normally take quite a bit of administrative work to do. Now you just have to worry about the creative aspect of managing your chapter website. So before we get started on the content today, I do want to do a couple of housekeeping things. The first of which is that this is a live webinar. So that means that if you have any questions as we're going through the material today, please do ask them. The best way to ask them is to type the question into the questions panel. I will see that pop up on my screen, and I'll be able to answer that question right away as we're going through the content. We are scheduled for about a half hour worth of content. That being said, I am happy to stick around as long as you have questions. So I will stay here for 35 minutes, 45 minutes, 2 hours to answer every single one of your questions. But I do try to keep the content portion to a half hour to be respectful of everybody's time. The webinar, including all of the questions, is being recorded. It will be made available in 2 different places. The first place is if you're in BNI Connect, click on the question mark. That will take you over to our support site. Our support site, support.bniconnect.com, our list of upcoming webinars, and if you scroll down below that, you'll see chapter training and documentation. Within there, you'll see a section called recorded webinars. Click on October 2014 and you'll see all of the webinars that we've uploaded for this month so far. And this webinar will be a part of that shortly, probably in the next week or so. If you need it right away, you can check out September's version. It will also be available on YouTube. If you go to youtube.com/BNI Connect Global, this will have the webinar information in it. We have educational moments up there as well. We have announcements and reminders and tips and tricks and all sorts of things up on our YouTube channel, including all of the monthly webinars. So if you're looking for updates, please subscribe to the YouTube channel for the latest videos. But let's talk about the chapter websites today. Now, the chapter websites, they are automatically created for you. So even if you haven't done anything yet whatsoever, you have a chapter website. So let's take a look at what those look like. I'm going to go to my test region up in Antarctica, kind of our cold place. Antarctica has a number of chapters. If I go and let's say look at the chapters in Antarctica, I can see all of the chapters on the Find a Chapter page. And if I click on one of the chapters, let's check out this Burr chapter. I would then see the details of that chapter. And by clicking on Chapter Website, I will be taken over to my chapter web page. And here, this is a default, out-of-the-box, nothing done to it chapter website. It has some basic information on there that's already put in there for us. So you can see along the left-hand side, it has our chapter name, it has the meeting day, what time, where we meet, the contact phone number, the contact email address, how many members we have, who our president, vice president, secretary, treasurer is, who our director consultant is. It also displays the amount of thank you for closed business for our chapter for the last 12 months. It gives a brief description of what BNI is all about and a default stock photograph. It also lists all of the chapter members, and if our chapter member has filled out their profile, let's take a look and see if Marky Mark has filled out their profile. Unfortunately, Marky Mark has not filled out his profile yet, but it does have some information at the very least. It has his name, it has his company name, the Funky Bunch, it has his phone number, and at least some basic information to contact Marky Mark if we need to. If, on the other hand, let's take a look at my friend Alfred E. Newman. And Alfred has filled out a bit of his profile, so at the very least he's put up a photograph, he's put up a company logo, he started describing his business, although he hasn't filled out his TOPS profile yet. He has his contact information and his website, so there's a little bit more information. And again, this was all up to Alfred to put that information in. The webmaster did not have to do that directly. The nice thing is that as the members change their information, as they update their profile, as they do all of this, all of that information is updated automatically in the system since it pulls it directly from the inside of BNI Connect. So it's much less that you have to worry about than trying to maintain a separate website outside of BNI Connect. There's also a chapter gallery where you can upload photographs of your chapter. And there's also a chapter news feed that you can put up there as well. And again, this is a default out-of-the-box website. So let's take a look at some other ones. I know that there's the Golden Opportunities chapter, I think it is. Oh, that's not it. BNI Golden Ideas, that's the name of the chapter. Golden Ideas in San Francisco. And here's the chapter website here. And this is what they have done. So if I go to visit their chapter website, here's what they've done to their page. This is a fully customized page. They have gone to all of the, they put a new description in, they put a picture of their location, they made a whole column on the right-hand side. They put in a thing that says a message from our presidents. Click on it and it shows the president's picture. They put in a map. Their secretary-treasurer is putting in all of these speakers, so the speaker rotation is listed in there as well. They also customized their chapter members and power teams page, so they made it so that it's showing the regular chapter members, but also you can click a button that lists the members by power team. And again, this is all custom stuff that this chapter has decided to do with their website. So let's see, what Tom has a couple of questions. Says, how did I get to that page? When I go to my page, I see a button for my chapter that releases a drop-down with a single menu item that doesn't do anything. So which page are you referring to? So if I go to my regional website, again, this happens to be AntarcticReferrals.com. That's my regional website up in Antarctica. If I go to find a chapter, I can list the chapters. And then I can click on chapter website, and this will pick up my chapter website. So that's how I got there. I can also go, like my own personal chapter, I can go to bniri.com/Wakefield. And this is my own personal chapter. We haven't done much with our chapter page, but we do have our speakers listed. We did put a link to like our Facebook page. But again, there you could do a little or you could do a lot. And you can even customize the name or the folder direction that you're going to so it's not a big long name, and I'll get to that in just a second. All right, so these are the chapter websites, and let's show you how you can go in and edit yours to make it what you want it to be. All right, and welcome to the call, Benson. All right, so in order to access the chapter website functionality, you do need to be listed as the chapter webmaster, or you have to be in a position in your chapter that has access to the chapter website functions. Usually the leadership team, the president, vice president, secretary, treasurer, by default usually has access. Otherwise, you would have to talk to your executive director or your regional office to let them know that you would like to be the chapter webmaster, and they do need to assign you that position. Once they have assigned you that position, you should then see the Tools menu show up. So up here along the top, we have Network Operations Reports, and then if you are a chapter webmaster, you should also see Tools. Once you see Tools, go to CMS and then Chapter Websites. Benson asked, can the names be changed for chapter director instead of president and vice versa? And Benson, that is actually done by default for your language. So if I go to any of the chapter sites in the UK, they should actually list president instead of president, chapter director, membership coordinator, etc. As far as the figures in dollars, we would have to do that in manually with a quick edit on the page. All right, does that answer your question, Benson? All right, Tom says, can you show us how the buttons on the screen work? For example, Antarctica. Which buttons are you referring to, Tom? So if I go back to Antarctic referrals here, and I go to find a chapter, are you referring to, like if I go here, like these buttons here? Okay, so let me go to the previous screen. So this screen or the screen before this? Okay, one screen back. So this screen. So if there are buttons at the top of these screens, so let me go back one more. So this one. So the red buttons, I don't see red buttons. So I'll tell you what, Tom, if we can, why don't we save that and we'll go through that at the end, and that way we can. So are you referring to these ones? Okay, so to get to here, what you need to do is go to BNI Connect and log in to BNI Connect. Once you log into BNI Connect, you should see the rest of these buttons up here. Now you're in the logged in portion. Once there, to get to the website functionality, we're going to go to Tools, CMS, Chapter Websites. Okay, so you're referring to these drop-downs. So these drop-downs will only allow you to get to the regions and the chapters that you have access to. So if you're a member of a single chapter, you would only have access to the drop-down for that chapter. We do have some director consultants on the call. They may have access to multiple chapters, and executive director might have access to multiple different regions. So they don't appear to do anything at the moment because you don't have access to anything else besides your chapter. Right, so it's not doing anything because there's nothing to drop down to, only your particular chapter. Does that make sense, Tom? Gotcha. If you ever become a director consultant, you probably would be able to drop down and see all of the chapters that you are working with. All right, so getting back to this, once I'm in the CMS portion and I get to I will see all of the chapters listed that I have access to. Most of the time, you will only see your one chapter. Again, if you're a director consultant, you might see all the chapters, or an executive director, you would see all of the chapters listed there. Otherwise, we would just see the one chapter listed. We can click on the link to go and visit that chapter, or we can click on the options button that will bring us into the CMS editor. And Jennifer and Benson and Bob, I do see all your questions. I will get to those as well, I promise. So this is the CMS editor. There's a number of different pages along the top that you'll see. And the content within them. So what I'd like to do is go through these tabs, show you what they do, and then show you how to edit one of the pages as well. So this first tab shows you all of the pages of your website. So we have the home page, we have the chapter members page, we have the member details, chapter details, and send message sub pages within the chapter members page. We have the gallery page, and we have the news page. So again, if I go out to our website again, that would be the home page, the chapter members page, the gallery page, and the news page. So those are all the pages that are on the website. And then the chapter members page has a member details page, and it also has a chapter details page. So those are all the different pages that we have access to go in and make edits to. Now, before I get into all the different things within this page, the second page is the library page. Now, what the library page is if you want to put your own photographs on the website, you do need to get those photographs up and onto the BNI Connect server. And we do that by uploading them into the library. So all we need to do for that is click on the Upload button. And what this will do is allow you to search your computer for a graphic that you'd like to put up there. Now you can upload multiple graphics by holding down the control button, let's say, and let's say I wanted to grab these 3 graphics here, and maybe this one too. Oh, maximum number of 3. Let me go grab those again. I always forget whether it's 3 or 5. So I'm going to grab those 3 and click Upload. And now you can see I have these 3 new files up in my library. That means when I go in to edit my site, I'll be able to use those photographs as part of my library. You can also upload documents if you'd like to link to documents, as well as Flash objects. But I'm just going to worry about the pictures for today. The next tab over is the Site Information tab. Now the Site Information tab is some of the more back-end stuff of the website. The first thing that you want to take a look at is the chapter folder name. Now the chapter folder name is when it creates your site, it creates a ridiculously long name by default. You know, for example, before I renamed this, the name of this site was the Shiver-Region-Burr-Chapter. Because what it does is it creates a name by saying, take the region name and take the chapter name and put a bunch of dashes where the spaces would be. So what I recommend doing is making this to be your own customized name so that when you're telling somebody where to go for your chapter website, or even if you're putting it on another form or at the bottom of an email or something, it looks a little bit easier to get to. So you can rename this. I just happen to call mine Burr. So it was easier to remember and easier to get to. So rather than saying, go to antarcticreferrals.com/shiver-region-burr-chapter, I could just say, go to antarcticreferrals.com/burr. The only other thing that you really want to touch on the site information page is if you are using something like Google Analytics, you can paste a Google Analytics code in here or any other analytics service that you might be using. The last tab, if you've enabled the chapter gallery, you'll see a gallery tab, and this works very much like the library, except it's designed simply as a photo gallery. And you can put up albums of pictures. For example, I created this one called Summer Get Together as an album, which I can then upload photos into. So I had this one photo, I can upload another photo if I'd like to. Again, very similar to the way I uploaded things into the library. So I could select a photo. Let's see. Click Upload, and now I have 2 photos in my gallery. So going back to the first tab, you'll notice that for each of the pages that you have a bunch of things that you can do. Tom had a question, how do you get back to this edit mode? To get here, you got to click on Tools, CMS, Chapter Websites, and then you click on Edit next to the website that you would like to enter. And by the way, Bob, did I answer your question as well? How do you get our full name to appear in the banner? That would be done on the Site Information tab. You want to change your chapter folder name so that your name appears there. Does that make sense? So Bob says, our name is too big and it overflows. For that one, I'll tell you what, can you do me a favor and shoot me an email, supports@bniconnect.com, and I will have our CMS website gurus take a look at that one and see if there's anything that can be done for that. All right, supports@bniconnect.com. Just make sure you put your region and your chapter name in there, and we'll have a look at that. So Tom, if you don't have tools, then you need to talk to your executive director or your regional person and let them know that you'd like to be a chapter webmaster. Once they assign you that role, you will see the tools button, the tools menu option appear, and then you'll be able to get into the edit section. So again, Tom, feel free to shoot me an email, and we can work together to take a look at that after the webinar. All right, support@bniconnect.com. All right, excellent. All right, so going back to the pages, a couple of things you should know if you are new to editing websites, if you're new to CMS. When you're working on your chapter website, you're always working on a copy of the website. So that means that what you're working on, the general public doesn't see yet. So you can go ahead and make changes and experiment with stuff and play with it, while the general public, if they go to your site, they're seeing what was there before. In order to make the changes active, you do need to publish the site. Publishing the site takes your temporary copy, what you've been working on, and it overwrites the live site. So when you're ready to show what your work is to the rest of the world, make sure that you click this publish button here. It should only take a couple of seconds, and it will then overwrite the live site. So on most of these pages, you do have a couple of options. You do have the option to edit the name of the page. So let's say I didn't want this to be the home page anymore. I wanted it to be, about our chapter. I could change the name of our page, and that would also change the button. So you can see this is no longer home, it's about our chapter. And you can change any of those buttons up here at the top. You can also add meta tags, so that will help with the search engine optimization of your site. And then finally, we have the edit content, which is really the meat and potatoes of it. Now, keep in mind, it did just open in a new window. So if you click the edit content and nothing happens, please do check your content, your pop-up blocker. Pop-up blockers will prevent this from opening the new window. So check to make sure your pop-up blocker is turned off, and you should be able to get into this edit page. Now, most of the page, you'll notice that the left-hand side of the page doesn't allow us to do anything, and the bottom part of the page doesn't allow us to do anything. And that's because that is the part of the page that is automatically controlled by BNI Connect. So that's the part where it automatically inserts your chapter address, and it automatically inserts your leadership team and their contact information. It automatically inserts the speakers at the bottom. So the middle part is really what we're going to be working on, the content portion of it. And this brings me to your question, Jen. It says, as a director consultant, can I update the location or time of the chapter meetings? And that is it depends on your permissions in your region. You cannot edit them through here. That's one of the pieces of information that's pulled automatically from the chapter properties within BNI Connect. So I can show you that after we're done with this. I can show you where to do that if you have access to. Otherwise, that's a change that needs to be made by your regional office. Okay, does that answer your question there, Jen, for now? All right, so going back to editing the content of the page, most of editing the content really is very similar to editing a Word document. If you've ever edited a Word document, this is fairly straightforward in how it works. A couple of things that I'll show you. For those of you that are web designers or do have some programming experience, you can get pretty advanced with this by accessing the source code. This does accept full HTML source code, which you can even copy and paste from another editing program if you need to. Another good idea, by the way, and this is just a little kind of geeky trick, before you start working on your site, there's really no backup procedures, so to speak, for the CMS. So what you might want to do is go to Source, select all, and copy this and put it into Notepad and make a copy of this so that if you completely mess up your site and decide it's the ugliest thing you've ever created, you could go back to the default simply by copying and pasting the original source code back in here. And Benson, please say hello to Ian as well. Thank you. Going through these buttons, I mean, most of this, again, is fairly straightforward, mostly Word and Word editing software, very similar to that. We have up along the top here the cut, copy, and paste. There's a couple of special paste functions because one thing to keep in mind is you never want to copy content from, let's say, Microsoft Word and put it into your website. And the reason for that, and this isn't just a BNI Connect thing, this is just a general web rule, is that Word and other editing software has a ton of back-end code to try to make it all look pretty that may not be compatible with a web browser. So you usually want to just put the text in place and then format it after it's already in here. And that's what you notice that there's 3 paste buttons here. So if you, let's say, have a bunch of words that you've done in Microsoft Word and you want to copy and paste that into your site, you can copy it out of Word, but I recommend clicking this Paste from Word button, hit Control-V to put it in here, and what that'll do is it will strip all the extra content and formatting out of it and just put the words in there. The rest of these, find, replace, things like that, those are all standard document level functions. To the right here, this does have a forms editor and creator, which I'm not going to get into today. It does require some knowledge of back-end coding if you're going to use that. There's a full screen mode, which isn't very helpful here looking at it for layout purposes, but helps if you're using the source code. There's superscript and subscript, and we have the traditional bold, and we can do italic and underline and strike through. We can do bulleted and numbered lists if we would like to. We can increase the indent and decrease the indent and do block text and things like that. We have the left justify, center, right justify, and full justify. This bottom row is where it starts to get a little bit more interesting as far as a web software goes. A couple of functions that you will want to familiarize yourself. The first of which is this link button. The link button is what allows you to jump to other pages or even different sections of this page. For example, if I put in the word BNI and I want to say something like go to the BNI headquarters website. And I would like BNI to be a hyperlink to take them to the BNI.com website. I could highlight this, click on link, and then type in www.bni.com. That way, when somebody clicked on that, they would be taken to the BNI headquarters website. The next thing is if you want to insert pictures. And to insert a picture, you want to click on this picture button and then click Browse. This brings you to your library. Before, we uploaded photos into our library, and let's say I wanted to put this BNI visitor tag on here. Oh, that's a little bit too big, so let me resize it. Maybe I only want it to be 200 pixels wide. And now I have a visitor picture in here. You can also link pictures to turn them into buttons or to turn them into links. So I could say, I want you to take this to support.bniconnect.com when they click on it. I could do that as well. And then finally, there's different styles that you can use. I recommend always using Arial font whenever possible because that is the branded font for BNI. But you can, of course, change the size, you can change the text color, and you can change the highlighting. Now, when you're done with your work of art and you're very happy with the results, you can go ahead and save this, which will take you to a preview. If you're happy with that, click Close. Now, keep in mind, the rest of the world is still seeing this because I haven't published my page yet, whereas my preview page, my back-end copy, looks like this. When I'm ready to take this and show it to the world, I want to go ahead and click Publish. Now, when I go to the Burr chapter website, I see my gorgeous work of art. All right, so those are the basics of updating and creating your very own chapter website. For those of you that do have to leave right away, thank you so much for being here. I noticed a couple of people left right at the bottom of the hour. For those of you that can stick around for a few minutes, I will go through and I'll answer all of the questions that came up. Just a reminder, it's being recorded, youtube.com/BNI Connect Global, and on the support site. All right, so let's see. We have questions. Jennifer says, we have a website based on the name of our chapter, lakesidernetworkers.com. Is there a document that tells us about guidelines for what you can do on an outside website? For that one, Jennifer, talk to your executive director. They will have the guidelines for you. The recommendation is, though, that you just take your domain name and you point it over to these BNI Connect sites. That way you will be sure that you're in compliance, and I truly believe that it does lessen the load of trying to keep up with a personal website. That being said, there are a lot of exacting branding standards. You can check out bnibranding.com. There are a lot of the standards up there as well, but definitely that is something to talk with your executive director about. Benson, the UK haven't defaulted the permissions titles. So the positions should show up based on what your language is in the browser. Of course, these are public sites, so it should be picking up your browser language. Let's see, what is it? BNI, is BNI Midlands one of them that are over there? Yeah, I think this is one of the sites. So if I go to, let's say, find one of these chapters here. I would need to change my language, I believe, to the UK version of English, and it should show up. I never change my language. I have to find it. But my locale settings, if I change those to English UK, I believe they should show up in that language. And if not, then shoot me an email and I will get the CMS person on that to find out why it has not defaulted over yet. All right, Benson? But if your language, it could be that the language for the region is not properly set as well, which does control that portion of it. All right, let's see. A couple more questions. Jen, as far as where to change the chapter details, if you have access to it, you would go to Admin, Chapter, Manage Attributes, and Edit Chapter Attributes. And from here, you could change the location or add a new location. Again, if you have access to do that, which you may or may not have. Okay. Tom says, my example from San Francisco was the Golden Ideas chapter. And yes, the Golden Ideas chapter. Golden Ideas, BNI, you can do a search for that. And it should bring you to the Golden Ideas chapter webpage. And there it is. bnisanfrancisco.com/golden-ideas. And excellent. I'll look for that other email as well, Tom. Aaron says, how do you add the Facebook link? The Facebook link, what you have to do is you have to put the code in from Facebook. So if you wanted to do a add Facebook to website, there should be here it is, the social plugins, the like button, and what you do is you have to basically fill out this form. It will then give you the code that you would have to insert into the source code. I usually use an iframe code, and all you would do is grab this iframe code and insert it into the content. So I would go to edit content here. I'd go to the source code. I'd find a place to put it. By the way, here's another little trick. Let's say I'd like that to go down here somewhere. I usually put a bunch of X's. And that way when I get to the source code, I should be able to locate those X's. And there it is. And then I can insert my iframe code into there. So there's my X's. Insert the iframe code, go back to source. I should now see a box there. But when I save it, you can see now there's the Facebook link that's in there. So does that help there, Aaron? Excellent. Jennifer says, where do I find out the contact info for my executive director? So the easiest way to do that is if you're in BNI Connect, click on the button that says Regional Website. That will open a new page. It will take you to your regional website. Click on the Contact button, and you should have your executive director listed there with their phone number and the ability to send them a message. All right, does that help? Jennifer also says, is this person called the chapter area director consultant? For what exactly, Jennifer? The area director is usually in between the executive director and the director consultant. And Jen, I would be happy to answer an off-topic question. That is perfectly fine. Jen asks, on creating events in BNI Connect, it gives me set locations. How do I delete these random locations? You cannot delete locations in BNI Connect. Big long story behind that. It has to do with past associations and things. But to add locations, you have to go to Admin, Region, if you have access to events. I'm assuming you have access to this. If you go to Admin, Region, and then you go to Manage Locations. You can click on Add a Location, and then View Edit Locations. So the View Edit Locations, because you can't delete something, if there's a location that might have just closed down or something, you can always repurpose an old location, rename one, or change the address on an existing one if, let's say, a business moved. So hopefully that helps, Jen. Jennifer asks, who is responsible for keeping the member roster current? So that is between your secretary-treasurer and your regional office. So if your chapter roster is not current, you need to talk to your secretary-treasurer, and your secretary-treasurer needs to work with your regional office to make sure that the correct people are input into BNI Connect, and the correct people are taken out if they have dropped out of BNI Connect. So who does that physical activity is it's a process that's different region to region, but definitely check with your regional office and your secretary-treasurer. All right. I think that was the last question I have there. I'm happy to answer any additional questions. If anybody has any questions whatsoever. All right. While you think up any last-minute questions, just a reminder that this is being recorded. Again, youtube.com/BNI Connect Global. I would also love it if you gave us a like on Facebook, facebook.com/BNI Connect Global. You can like us up there. We do webinar announcements and reminders and all sorts of things up on our Facebook page as well. So please do give us a like. And finally, if you found today's session helpful or you like the format, we do a full series of webinars on a monthly basis on all sorts of topics. So please do check out our schedule right on the support site. Our very next one will be coming up in a couple of weeks. We're going to start the whole series again with chapter goals for leadership teams, the leadership team tools and reports, and then going into the member series. Let's see, a couple more questions just popped up. Aaron says, can videos be added to the gallery? Videos cannot be added directly to the gallery. What you need to do is, my recommendation is you use a site like YouTube. That's what I do. You can get a video on there very easily. What you do is you launch it, you get it up to YouTube or whatever video sharing site you would like to. So, for example, we have our YouTube channel on BNI Connect Global. It is a free channel. So there's nothing to pay or anything. So if I go to, let's say I wanted to get this invite a visitor video up onto our chapter website. What I could do is then go into this video, click on the share and the embed option. I grab this code. I'm going to go back to our content on our page. And I would like to put this into the source. Now I'll have an iframe there. I can save that. And now I have a video up on the website. I publish the changes. And now people can watch a video on my website. They can bring it full screen, or they can go off and share this or watch it on YouTube. Okay? And that works with any web sharing service that has the ability to embed videos on other sites, which is most of them nowadays. Jennifer says, my designation is wrong. I was listed as graphic designer and need to be changed to web designer. Jennifer, again, that is something that happens at the regional level. So that's something that your regional office, your executive director, regional administrator will have to take care of. Sometimes it does require just filling out a new application. You don't have to pay again or anything like that. It's just to make sure that the right thing is on file. Or if it was just a clerical error, they'll just go ahead and change that. But again, that has to be done at the regional office level. So again, to find out who your executive director is, click on that regional website button. Tim says the YouTube channel is BNI Connect. The Facebook, they're both BNI Connect Global. So it's, again, YouTube/BNI Connect Global, as well as Facebook BNI Connect Global. Isabel says, so in order to join, I have to be the only realtor in the group. That is going to be a decision of the membership committee. For example, we happen to have 3 realtors in my BNI chapter. We have one realtor that is exclusive to residential realty, one that is exclusive to residential rentals, and one that is exclusive to commercial realty. So it really depends on how the members work together, and it's up to the membership committee in the chapter. So does that answer your question, Isabel? Excellent. I just realized I never changed my name on here. It's from Ivan to Jeremy. All right. Any other questions? You guys had some great questions today. Oh, no, Isabel, completely my fault. My name on here is actually showing up as Ivan Meisner. I am impersonating Ivan today, apparently. My name, I just changed back to Jeremy. All right. Any other questions, comments, concerns? How can I help you? All right. If there's no additional questions, I'm going to sign off. Thank you all so very much for being here today, and I look forward to seeing you on a future webinar. Have a wonderful rest of the week, and happy connecting.